What if I told you that the most powerful men in the world aren't the ones commanding boardrooms or leading the pack? What if the real game changers are the ones you never see coming? The silent architects of their own destiny who operate from the shadows, building empires while others fight for scraps of attention. Welcome to the world of the Sigma male, a breed of man so rare and misunderstood that most people don't even know they exist. While society obsesses over the tired alpha-beta dynamic, a new paradigm is emerging. These are men who've cracked the code of true independence, who've discovered that real power doesn't come from dominating others, but from mastering themselves. You're here because something inside you recognizes this truth. Maybe you've always felt different, like you don't quite fit into the traditional masculine boxes society tries to force you into. Maybe you've watched the endless competition for status and thought, there has to be a better way. Well, there is, and you're about to discover it. This isn't just another self-help philosophy. This is a complete reimagining of what it means to be a powerful man in the modern world. Over the next 7 revelations, we're going to dissect exactly what separates Sigma males from every other archetype, and more importantly, how you can cultivate these traits to become an unstoppable force in your own life. If you're ready to break free from the matrix of social expectations and build something extraordinary, hit that subscribe button right now. Because what you're about to learn will fundamentally change how you see yourself and your place in the world. The Sigma revolution starts here, and it starts with you. 1. The silent revolution. There's a revolution happening right under society's nose, and most people are completely oblivious to it. While the world remains fixated on the age-old alpha versus beta narrative, a third force has emerged, one that operates in the shadows, reshaping the very definition of masculine power without fanfare or recognition. This is the Sigma revolution, and it's being led by men who've discovered something profound. True strength doesn't announce itself. These are the architects of their own reality, the lone wolves who've realized that the game everyone else is playing is rigged from the start. While alphas exhaust themselves climbing hierarchies and betas accept their position within them, Sigma males have walked away from the entire system to build something better. Consider the tech entrepreneurs who changed the world from their garages, the artists who revolutionized culture from their studios, the investors who built fortunes while others chased trending stocks. These weren't men seeking approval or validation. They were Sigma males following their own vision, regardless of what society expected from them. The silent revolution isn't about rejecting leadership or avoiding responsibility. It's about recognizing that the most powerful position isn't at the top of someone else's hierarchy. It's at the center of your own universe. Sigma males understand that real influence comes not from commanding others, but from mastering yourself so completely that others naturally gravitate toward your energy. This revolution is silent because Sigma males don't need to announce their transformation. They don't seek credit or recognition. They simply become the change they want to see, creating ripple effects that transform everything around them without ever demanding attention for it. 2. Beyond the alpha-beta paradigm. For decades, we've been trapped in a binary thinking pattern that reduces the complexity of masculine archetypes to just 2 options: dominate or submit, lead or follow, alpha or beta. This oversimplified model has created a generation of men who either exhaust themselves trying to maintain dominance or resign themselves to perpetual followership. But what if this entire framework is fundamentally flawed? What if there's a third option that transcends both alpha aggression and beta passivity? The Sigma male represents the evolution beyond this limiting paradigm. Unlike alphas, who derive their power from their position within social hierarchies, Sigma males create their own hierarchies. They don't compete for the top spot because they're playing an entirely different game. One where they set the rules, define success on their own terms, and answer to no one but themselves. Where alphas need constant validation through dominance displays and betas seek security through conformity, sigma males have achieved something far more valuable: complete independence from external approval. They've broken free from the exhausting cycle of proving themselves to others, and instead focus their energy on becoming the best version of themselves. This isn't about being antisocial or rejecting all forms of leadership. Sigma males can lead when necessary, but they do so from a place of choice, not compulsion. They can work within teams, but they never lose their individual identity in the process. They operate from a position of internal strength that doesn't require external validation to maintain. The paradigm shift happens when you realize that your worth isn't determined by your position in someone else's hierarchy, but by your ability to create value according to your own standards. This is the Sigma breakthrough, the recognition that true power is self-generated, self-sustained, and self-directed. 3. The art of strategic solitude. While society teaches us that isolation is something to be feared or overcome, Sigma males have discovered one of life's most powerful secrets. Solitude is not loneliness, it's strategic positioning. They understand that in a world full of noise, distraction, and other people's agendas, solitude becomes the ultimate competitive advantage. Strategic solitude isn't about becoming a hermit or avoiding human connection. It's about creating intentional space for deep thinking, self-reflection, and strategic planning. While others are caught up in the endless cycle of social obligations and external distractions, Sigma males are using solitude to sharpen their minds, clarify their vision, and develop their unique capabilities. Think about the greatest innovations, breakthroughs, and creative works in history. They didn't emerge from committee meetings or group brainstorming sessions. They came from individuals who had the courage to step away from the crowd, think independently, and develop their ideas in solitude. Einstein's theory of relativity, Jobs' vision for Apple, Tesla's revolutionary inventions, all products of strategic solitude. For the Sigma male, solitude serves multiple strategic purposes. It's where he conducts his most important work, the work of self-development. It's where he analyzes his experiences, learns from his mistakes, and plans his next moves without the influence of others' opinions or expectations. It's his laboratory for personal experimentation and growth, but perhaps most importantly, strategic solitude is where the Sigma male maintains his independence. By not constantly needing the company or approval of others, he remains free to make decisions based purely on his own judgment and values. He becomes immune to peer pressure, social trends, and the emotional manipulation that often comes with group dynamics. This doesn't mean Sigma males are antisocial. When they do engage with others, they do so from a position of choice and strength, not need or desperation. Their relationships are more authentic, because they're not driven by loneliness or insecurity. 4. Self-reliance as a superpower. In an age of increasing dependence on technology, on institutions, on other people's opinions and validation, self-reliance has become a rare and powerful trait. For Sigma males, self-reliance isn't just a practical skill. It's a fundamental philosophy that shapes every aspect of their existence. Self-reliance goes far beyond the ability to change a tire or cook a meal. It's about developing complete confidence in your ability to handle whatever life throws at you. It's about building multiple skills, maintaining financial independence, and cultivating the mental resilience to navigate challenges without needing rescue from others. The Sigma male approaches self-reliance systematically. He doesn't just hope he'll be able to handle future challenges. He actively prepares for them. He develops multiple income streams, so he's never dependent on a single employer. He learns practical skills, so he's not helpless when systems fail. He builds financial reserves, so he has options when opportunities arise. But the most powerful aspect of Sigma self-reliance is psychological. When you know you can handle anything that comes your way, you operate from a position of unshakable confidence. You're not afraid to take risks because you trust your ability to adapt and overcome. You're not desperate in negotiations because you have genuine alternatives. You're not clingy in relationships because you're complete as an individual. This self-reliance creates a magnetic quality. People are naturally drawn to those who seem unshakable, who radiate quiet confidence, who don't need anything from anyone. Paradoxically, the less you need from others, the more they want to give to you. Consider the difference between someone who desperately needs a job versus someone who would like a particular position but has multiple other options. The latter negotiates from strength, commands respect, and often receives better offers simply because they don't reek of desperation. Self-reliance also provides the ultimate freedom, the freedom to say no. When you're not dependent on others for your security, happiness, or identity, you can make choices based purely on what aligns with your values and goals. 5. Emotional independence mastery. Perhaps no trait distinguishes the Sigma male more clearly than his mastery of emotional independence. While others ride the emotional roller coaster of external circumstances, seeking validation, fearing rejection, and allowing their mood to be determined by other people's opinions, the Sigma male has achieved something far more valuable: complete emotional sovereignty. Emotional independence doesn't mean becoming emotionless or disconnected. Instead, it means taking full responsibility for your emotional state and refusing to hand that power over to anyone else. It's about understanding that while you can't control what happens to you, you have complete control over how you respond to what happens to you. The average person's emotional state is determined by external factors: how others treat them, whether they receive approval or criticism, whether their plans go smoothly or encounter obstacles. They're essentially emotional slaves, constantly at the mercy of circumstances beyond their control. The Sigma male has broken free from this prison through deliberate practice and unwavering commitment to personal sovereignty. This mastery begins with profound self-awareness. Sigma males develop the ability to observe their emotions objectively, like a scientist studying data. They understand what triggers certain responses, recognize patterns in their emotional reactions, and consciously choose how they want to respond. They don't suppress emotions. They process them intelligently and use them as information rather than allowing them to drive their decisions. Consider how most people react to criticism. The alpha male becomes defensive, launching into counterattacks to protect his ego. The beta male crumbles with self-doubt, allowing others' opinions to devastate his confidence. The Sigma male listens objectively, extracts any useful feedback, and disregards the rest without taking it personally. His self-worth isn't determined by others' opinions, so criticism can't destabilize him. This emotional independence manifests in practical ways throughout daily life. In romantic relationships, the Sigma male loves deeply, but doesn't become needy or possessive. He doesn't require constant reassurance or become jealous when his partner interacts with others. His security comes from within, making him incredibly attractive because he's not desperately clinging to the relationship for his identity. In professional settings, the Sigma male remains calm under pressure because his emotional state isn't dependent on others' approval or perfect outcomes. He can negotiate from a position of strength because he's not emotionally invested in being liked by everyone. He can take calculated risks because his confidence doesn't crumble with temporary setbacks. The development of emotional independence requires specific practices. Daily meditation or reflection helps build the observer's mind, the part of consciousness that can watch emotions without being consumed by them. Regular journaling helps identify emotional patterns and triggers. Physical exercise provides an outlet for emotional energy and builds mental resilience. Perhaps most importantly, Sigma males practice emotional discipline by consistently choosing their responses rather than reacting automatically. When someone cuts them off in traffic, they choose calm rather than road rage. When a business deal falls through, they choose learning and adaptation rather than despair. When someone tries to provoke them, they choose indifference rather than engagement. This emotional mastery creates several powerful advantages. First, it makes the Sigma male incredibly magnetic to others. There's something deeply attractive about someone who isn't needy, who doesn't require constant reassurance, who remains stable regardless of external drama. People are drawn to emotional stability like moths to flame because it's so rare in our reactive society. Second, emotional independence enables superior decision-making. When emotions don't cloud judgment, choices are made based on logic, strategy, and long-term thinking rather than momentary feelings. The Sigma male doesn't make impulsive purchases when he's sad, doesn't send angry emails when frustrated, and doesn't make relationship decisions based on temporary emotions. Third, this mastery provides unshakable inner peace. When your happiness doesn't depend on external validation or perfect circumstances, you become virtually invulnerable to the ups and downs that torment most people. You develop what Stoic philosophers called ataraxia, unperturbable tranquility regardless of external conditions. The Sigma male's emotional independence also extends to his relationship with failure and success. While others are devastated by setbacks or intoxicated by victories, he maintains equilibrium through both. He understands that both success and failure are temporary states, not permanent identities. This perspective allows him to learn from failures without being crushed by them, and enjoy successes without becoming dependent on them. The rejection of social validation. In a world obsessed with likes, shares, status symbols, and social approval, the Sigma male's rejection of external validation represents a radical act of independence. While others exhaust themselves trying to impress people they don't even like, posting carefully curated versions of their lives on social media, and making decisions based on what others will think, the Sigma male has discovered the ultimate freedom, caring only about his own opinion of himself. This rejection isn't born from arrogance, bitterness, or superiority, but from a deep understanding of how the validation game actually works, and why it's ultimately destructive to authentic living. Social validation is essentially a psychological drug. It provides temporary highs, followed by inevitable crashes, requiring ever-increasing doses to maintain the same effect. Those who become addicted to it find themselves constantly performing for others, losing themselves in the process. The Sigma male recognizes that seeking validation is a losing game for several fundamental reasons. First, it makes your happiness dependent on factors completely outside your control. You're essentially handing over the keys to your emotional well-being to people who may not have your best interests at heart. Second, it forces you to conform to others' expectations rather than pursuing your authentic path, leading to a life that feels hollow and unfulfilling. Third, it creates a never-ending cycle of need that can never be permanently satisfied. There will always be someone whose approval you don't have. Instead of seeking validation, the Sigma male becomes his own source of approval through the development of strong internal standards. He measures his success against his own goals rather than others' expectations, derives satisfaction from personal growth and skill development, and finds fulfillment in progress toward his own vision of a meaningful life. This internal scorecard is carefully constructed and regularly refined. The Sigma male asks himself crucial questions. What kind of man do I want to be? What values do I want to embody? What legacy do I want to leave? The answers to these questions become his guiding principles, infinitely more reliable than the fickle opinions of others. Consider the difference in how validation seekers versus Sigma males approach social media. The validation seeker posts content designed to generate likes and comments, constantly checks engagement metrics, and feels genuinely upset when posts don't perform well. The Sigma male might use social media strategically for business or to share genuinely valuable content, but he's completely indifferent to the response. His self-worth isn't tied to digital metrics. This doesn't mean the Sigma male is immune to feedback or incapable of learning from others. The key difference is that he seeks input to improve himself, not to feel good about himself. He can accept criticism without being devastated because his identity isn't fragile, and he can receive praise without becoming addicted to it because his confidence comes from within. The rejection of social validation also frees the Sigma male from the exhausting performance that characterizes most social interactions. He doesn't need to be on all the time, doesn't need to impress anyone, and doesn't need to maintain a carefully crafted image. This authenticity is incredibly refreshing to others who are tired of superficial interactions and posturing. In professional settings, this independence from validation allows the Sigma male to make unpopular but correct decisions. He can advocate for what he believes is right, even if it's not politically popular. He can pursue innovative approaches even if others think they're risky. He can maintain his principles even when it costs him social capital. Perhaps most powerfully, this independence from validation allows the Sigma male to pursue unpopular or unconventional paths without being deterred by social pressure. History's greatest innovators, artists, and entrepreneurs were often misunderstood or criticized in their time. Galileo was persecuted for his scientific discoveries. Van Gogh sold only one painting during his lifetime. Steve Jobs was fired from the company he founded. Only those who could operate independently of social approval were able to persist and ultimately change the world. The Sigma male understands that true innovation and authentic living often require swimming against the current. When you're dependent on others' approval, you're doomed to mediocrity because genuine breakthroughs rarely have popular support initially. By rejecting the need for validation, the Sigma male gives himself permission to be a pioneer. This rejection also applies to material possessions and status symbols. While others buy expensive cars, designer clothes, or luxury watches to impress people, the Sigma male makes purchasing decisions based purely on utility and personal satisfaction. He might drive an old truck if it serves his needs, or wear simple clothes if they're comfortable and functional. His worth isn't tied to what he owns or displays. The ultimate freedom of rejecting social validation is the ability to live authentically. When you're not constantly worried about what others think, you can express your true personality, pursue your genuine interests, and build a life that actually fulfills you rather than just impressing others. This authenticity becomes magnetic. People are drawn to those who are genuinely themselves rather than performing a role. 7. Building your Sigma fortress. The culmination of the Sigma journey is the construction of what we call the Sigma fortress, a comprehensive system of personal sovereignty that protects and empowers the individual across all areas of life. This isn't a physical structure, but rather a carefully designed framework of habits, skills, resources, and mindsets that create unshakable independence. Building your Sigma fortress requires strategic thinking across multiple dimensions. The financial foundation involves creating multiple income streams, building substantial reserves, and developing location-independent skills. This economic independence provides the freedom to make choices based on values rather than necessity. The physical fortress includes maintaining excellent health, developing practical skills, and creating a living environment that supports your goals and values. This might mean having a home gym, so you're not dependent on external facilities, learning to cook, so you control your nutrition, or developing technical skills so you're not helpless when technology fails. The mental fortress is perhaps most important. developing unshakable self-confidence, emotional resilience, and the ability to think independently regardless of social pressure. This involves continuous learning, regular self-reflection, and the cultivation of a strong personal philosophy that guides decision-making. The social fortress doesn't mean isolating yourself, but rather building a carefully curated network of relationships that add value to your life while maintaining your independence within them. This means surrounding yourself with people who respect your autonomy, share your values, or provide mutual benefit without creating dependency. The spiritual fortress, whether through religion, philosophy, or personal belief systems, provides meaning and direction that doesn't depend on external circumstances. This internal compass ensures that even in uncertain times, you maintain clarity about your purpose and direction. The Sigma fortress is never complete. It requires constant maintenance and improvement, but once the foundation is established, you operate from a position of incredible strength. You have options when others are trapped, stability when others are shaken, and freedom when others are constrained. Most importantly, your fortress becomes a base from which you can impact the world positively. When you're secure in your own sovereignty, you can help others without sacrificing yourself, lead without dominating, and contribute without losing your identity. The Sigma mindset isn't just a personality type, it's a philosophy of liberation. While alphas exhaust themselves maintaining their position at the top of hierarchies they didn't create, and betas resign themselves to following rules they don't understand, Sigma males write their own playbook entirely. We've explored 7 fundamental pillars that separate Sigma males from every other archetype: their embrace of strategic solitude, their unshakable self-reliance, their mastery of emotional independence, their rejection of external validation, and their ability to build an impenetrable fortress of personal sovereignty. Each of these elements works together to create something unprecedented, a man who is truly free. But here's the crucial truth. Being Sigma isn't about superiority over others. It's about superiority over your former self. It's about refusing to accept limitations that others have placed on you, and instead creating a life so authentic and powerful that it becomes magnetic without trying to be. The journey we've outlined today is just the beginning. The Sigma path requires constant evolution, continuous learning, and the courage to stand alone when necessary. It's not for everyone, but for those who feel the call, it offers something that no other path can: complete autonomy over your destiny. Don't let this be just another video you watch and forget. The Sigma mindset is calling you to action. Subscribe to our channel because we're building a community of men who refuse to be ordinary, who understand that true strength comes from within, and who are committed to mastering the art of being authentically powerful. Your transformation starts now. The question is, are you ready to answer the call?